Hi, and welcome to Positive Not Negative. Today I'd like to respond to the responses I received in the first video regarding gay marriage. I'd like to start off first with the fact that I never stated what my sexual preference was. So some of the comments that came towards me would not make any sense depending on where I stand. But beyond that, I don't understand the anger. I don't understand the name calling or the leaps that people made regarding what was stated. We are in a society now that is discussing this issue, and it is such a big discussion because most of us, I think I'm speaking for most people, at least most of the people everybody I've spoken to basically, were brought up with the fact that marriage is between a man and a woman. If it's not, if we decide, as I said, they're discussing in society now about changing it, that's fine. Then we'll live with it. That's not a problem. It's like abortion or immigration or any of those types of situations we have in our society. If they change, we have to live with it. Doesn't mean we have to live it, but we have to live with it. My point being is if they change the abortion laws, which they have over and over again, doesn't mean that we have to practice what they say is legal. We can decide that we don't want to have anything to do with that. So I don't understand, like I said, the anger that came. If you don't like what somebody says, don't try to stop them from speaking. That seems to be what's happening more and more out there. My intent with all this was, with the people I've spoken to, family members, friends, acquaintances, people I've known for decades, and they would all tell you that I've treated them just like anybody else, that I don't treat them any different than anybody else because that's how I just happen to naturally be, like a lot of people. And then there are people that are very hateful. My point was, as I've talked to them, they're not worried about calling it a marriage. They just want the same rights. And that was my point, that everybody deserves the same rights. I used an analogy with basketball and using a football. Would that be the same game? No, it wouldn't. It would change the game greatly. Now, let me bring up a couple of people, because you're not going to know my family or my friends or acquaintances or anything like that, but let me bring up a couple of people. Elton John, he has a life partner. He happens to agree that it should not be called marriage. That's what he has said. He thinks it should be called something else. Does that make him immoral? Does that make him a bigot? Does that make him hateful towards homosexuals? He's one himself. I don't think so. How about, the president, what's his name? Oh, President Obama, him, yes. Same thing. That's where you should be marching. Here is somebody who is against gay marriage, unless he is flip-flopped, and he does that quite a bit. But here's somebody who's been against gay marriage all his life. In his book, he writes, as I remember, something about mistreating gays when he was younger, because he didn't know any better, but now he knows better. But he still has been against gay marriage. Right now, the Obama administration is finally trying to do something. They're trying to change Social Security survivor benefits, the ability for gays to write off their federal taxes if they have a union. He's finally getting around to this in his 5th year. So like I said, if you want to march on anybody or call anybody names, that's where you should go. I've had these beliefs for the last, or I've been espousing them for the last 10 or 15 years, but I've had them virtually my whole life. Everybody deserves to be treated equal. One person used my example of using using a football to play basketball. And it was brought up by the gentleman that in this country, football is American football. In other countries, football is played with a soccer ball. Well, what that's doing is making my point. If you say, hey, I want to watch the football game, and your friend calls you up and says, hey, come on over, let's watch the football game. You drive over to his house, you get there, and you say, hey, let's put on the game, let's watch the game. And he puts on the game, and you're watching the Cincinnati Bengals play the New York Jets in American football. And you say, no, I wanted to watch Spain versus Germany in the World Cup final. And your friend says, well, that's on pay-per-view, and I don't have pay-per-view. Well, you just missed the game. No big deal, it's just a game. But that's my point about how it's going to cloud up the issue. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It's like how do you treat diabetes? Well, you treat diabetes, they have diabetes, so you treat it. Well, there's type 1 and type 2. There's different types of diabetes. You have to treat them differently. You don't just go in there and treat everybody has the same rights to get treatment, but the treatment has to be different because that's the only way the person is going to be healed. So when looking at this, that's all. The only place I was going was was, why worry about what it's called? You just deserve the same rights. If you're playing basketball with a football, it's definitely going to change the game. Now, I had a number of things said to me. I just want to look here real quick. I was called bigoted. I looked at homosexuality as immoral. I was hateful. I guess that's what you're saying about Elton John and President Obama. You're talking, you're calling them the same names because that's what they said, or that's what you said about me. And they agree with my stance, but they probably agree with it for maybe different reasons. But none of us look at it in a hateful way. Except for maybe President Obama, because he's not gay to my knowledge, whereas Elton John is, but he agrees it shouldn't be called marriage. That's not really the point where I'm coming from. It's more that everybody deserves the same rights, just like the basketball game played with a football. If you have enough people that want to watch it, you want to get it on TV, and there's people that want to put it on TV, you deserve the same rights. It shouldn't be any different than anybody else. So instead of just calling people names, like I said on the first video, show me where I'm wrong. You don't have to call names and all that. How are we going to have a discussion? I know that this is one of those things where we virtually are never going to see each other because, you know, we're just putting it out on a video. It's about ideas. It's about getting this country going again, getting it together. If we change it, so be it. That's not a big deal to me. I just thought it would be a lot easier to get rights if you just had a different name for it, a union, a new marriage, whatever you want to call it. That would be fine. If it's called a marriage, so be it. That'll be great. All right, it's not that tough, folks. Let's just try to keep a little bit of sanity to what we say. Let's try to just be decent with one another, and let's see what we can do. I didn't bring up a number of the other things that were said to me based on what I don't know, but I would like to bring up one that I thought was kind of comical. Somebody said that if I'm against gay marriage, I'm also got to be against interracial marriages or relationships as well. Well, let me dispel that. I'm in an interracial relationship. So you say things and you don't have any clue in regards to what our meaning is. Just look at what is said and respond to that. And beyond that, have a great day. And I'll tell you what, let's go to the park. Let's play a little basketball, all right? I'll bring the ball, okay? We'll have lots of fun. And remember, always be positive, not negative. Have a great day.